Welcome to Gentle Yoga, our first class of our series. We're going to start in a seated upright posture. I'm going to build myself a little block tower, 2 blocks, right? I'm sitting up on the edge of my 2 blocks in hero's pose. If you get here and it does not feel comfortable for you today, finding a way to sit, that could include even sitting on a chair. Right? Maybe 2 blocks, maybe 1 block. Let's see how that feels. We're going to be using the blocks a lot today. Sitting up nice and tall, just beginning to arrive here. Beginning to arrive, feeling the support of your block, of the earth underneath you. You might softly gaze down or even close the eyes. Just arriving in this moment in whatever state of being you're in, whatever energy level, whatever you have going on today. Our goal here is to just be present for the next 55 minutes, to be present in our bodies and minds, and to connect the body and mind. Turning your attention inward to the feeling of the breath. Let's see if we can follow the thread of the breath. At first, not trying to change anything about it, just observing, noticing. And then perhaps deepening or lengthening the breath. Noticing all the places where the breath can travel to in your body. And taking 3 breaths, inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. Now, if you're feeling low energy, you might make that inhale a little longer than the exhale. And if you're feeling a little high energy or a little anxious, you might make that exhale a little longer than the inhale. Yoga and Ayurveda are like an energy management system. So you can play around with the lengths of your inhale and exhale at the end of class as well. So let's begin to move the neck. You're going to just tuck the chin, lift the head up and back. We store a lot of tension in the neck muscles, and it's no wonder because we're seated a lot and rounded forward a lot, and that puts a lot of pressure and strain on the neck and the shoulders. Okay, so just tucking the chin, lifting the head up and back, maybe making some circular movement. And then once you've made a few rounds, we're going to lift the arms out and up and bring the hands to heart center. You see this mudra in pretty much every yoga class. It's called Anjali Mudra. Anjali means offering. Right? So in this moment, what is your offering to yourself? What is your offering to those around you? We'll take some arm salutes here, ending in Anjali Mudra. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, Anjali Mudra at heart center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to heart center. Right, bringing the right hand and the left hand together at the heart, joining the hemispheres in the brain. Giving a sense of connection as we breathe in, arms rising. Breathe out, hands to heart center. Taking a few more arm salutes in this manner to warm up the upper body. As we begin our yoga practice, just reminding you, the word yoga means yoke, union, or connection, right? So we seek to connect mind, body, spirit within ourselves. And we seek to connect with something greater than ourselves, maybe with each other as well. We'll take one more arm salute. Good. Resting the hands at heart center, maybe gazing down or closing the eyes, and reminding yourself why you're here today. What is your why for your practice? Beautiful, guys. We'll rub the hands together. Create a little friction. It's a little cold down in my basement here in South Philly. And so, if I could, I'd be wearing my vest and my hat. The little space heater does not work because it's very loud and blows the fuse. So I got to warm up my body. If you're practicing somewhere where it's really warm, enjoy that, lavish in that. We'll come to hands and knees. If you have tender knees, please pad up by using a blanket under the knees. We'll come to cat-cow. So first I make sure that I have my good, strong, firm foundation. Hands are underneath the shoulders, right underneath the shoulders, and the knees are underneath the hips. Maybe the tops of the feet press. If this feels, if you start to cramp up in your foot, you can tuck the toes under. Everything okay, Deb? Okay. And now we're moving the spine, sinking the belly, lifting the head and heart, and rounding the back, taking care if you have osteoporosis not to round too deeply. Inhale and exhale with the movement. Here's another moment of connection, right? Connecting the movement with the breath. And just exploring, how am I doing today? How's my spine feeling? Maybe you take one more round, maybe you wag the tail a little bit from side to side. And then we're coming into a child's pose. So I'll take a little space between my knees and start to sit back towards my heels. Right? I might stay lifted today, or I might begin to bring my forehead down towards the earth or a block. Right? Some of you might even like using a bolster. In my child's pose, I'm resting my forehead on the earth, right? And this particular placement of the forehead on the earth is a perfect moment to remind yourself of your intention, or set an intention, something simple, positive in the present tense. And repeating that intention internally. Maybe it's something really simple and easy, like I am present. And now we'll slowly rise up like those crocus through the snow and come to hands and knees. Once again, I'm going to lengthen my right leg behind me with the toes still on the ground, rock forward, rock back. Just kind of stretching out my right leg. And then I'll go ahead and lift my right heel up off the earth, straight out from my hip, strong through the core. And if it felt okay, I could lift my left arm, opposite leg. Nice, guys. Take a big breath in, stretch long, and then reset, and we'll switch sides. Left leg long, toe on the ground to start. Rock forward, rock back. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lift that left heel, and maybe the right arm reaches. Feel the strength and the length. And then we'll switch sides, and we'll kind of get the pace going a little bit. Inhaling and lifting, exhaling and planting. Maybe the gaze can be down at the top of the mat to keep that spine aligned. Maybe you exhale out of the mouth with a little bit of a sigh or a little bit of a roar. Maybe you'd like to add a crunch to this. So you could extend, you could bring the elbow towards the knee with a cat spine and then re-extend and switch sides. If your wrist starts to get tired, you can give yourself a wrist stretch and come back to some balancing crunches. Breathing in, breathing out, and breathing in. Nice, guys. Keep up the good work. We'll take one more on each side. Complete the set, right? So right and then left. And then go ahead and sit back on the toes for a moment. If your knees will allow, plug the fingertips into the earth. We'll take 3 lion's breaths with a toe stretch. Inhaling, and then it was exhale, we open the mouth wide, stick the tongue out, and make that roar sound. Awesome. So crawling forward, I'm going to come to my downward facing dog, and I'm going to start with my knees bent. And I'm going to push the earth away with my hands, lift my sit bones, and then begin to pedal out one heel at a time, touching the earth, right? If you have issues in your feet and you want to kind of just sort of stay in one or the other, that's great. If you want to just sort of gently explore movement here. One more breath. It's just an upside down V shape. That's good, Deb. We'll ripple forward to your high plank. Right, high plank, Ted. We were talking about this, a good upper body strengthener where the hands are right underneath the shoulders. And you're pushing the earth away, you're pulling the belly up and in. You're finding that breath. Bringing the knees down, coming all the way to the belly with control, or staying lifted if the belly is not accessible to you. Inhale, lift the head, come to baby cobra. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, right? We're working on the anti-rounding in the upper back. This is that pose that's going to help you strengthen the muscles that you need to use to sit up tall. One more breath. And then you could release the cheek to the mat for a moment and let yourself rest. Letting go of effort throughout the entire body. I'm just laying on my belly, letting my head rest. And then when you're ready, peel yourself up to tabletop, right? If you've got those tender knees, make sure you can pad up under the knees. We'll come to balance on the knees. Come to balance on the knees. Roll the wrists out if your wrists feel a little bit sore. And then I'm going to put my hands into my imaginary back pockets. Kind of squeeze my elbows together. And I might kind of, engage the belly so the belly's pulling towards the spine and lift the heart. I might lean back just a teeny bit. My gaze could be down, my gaze could be up. Taking a good breath here in our modified camel pose. Good, and then coming back to neutral. I'm going to step 1 foot forward. Good, that's good, guys. Tuck the back toe under and push yourself up to stand. Awesome. Come to meet me at the top of your mat. Change your camera angle if you need to. Take a sip of water if you need to. Shake it out a little bit. Good. And then let's get the blood pumping a little bit. So I've got a little bit of a wider stance, and I'm just going to bring opposite elbow to opposite knee. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe it's a short little movement. Maybe you kind of go slowly to get more of a balance challenge. If this is really easy for you and you want something a little more challenging, you could extend and do a toe touch. And then we'll be joining the Rockettes, as we progress towards the toe touch. Breathing in, breathing out. Remind yourself why you're here. Don't hate me. Good, we'll take one more, whatever you're doing on each side. Come back. We'll take a little hip rotation dance. So I'm going to lift one leg and kind of step over my imaginary hurdle. Maybe the hands are on the hips, or maybe I can just hold the arms loosely out to the sides. You want to get really fancy, you could move the opposite arm in the opposite direction. And these kinds of movements, not only are they helping me warm up, but they're keeping my brain focused on these opposites. Good. One more on each side. And then we'll come to standing mountain pose. Standing mountain pose, inhaling the arms out and up. Exhale, take a slow fold forward with a soft bend to the knees. Right, maybe you can let the head hang. If you get dizzy easily, you could keep the head lifted. If you're caring for your low back, you're going to keep a pretty deep bend to the knees. Right, so noticing now, how does this make the low back feel? Does it feel like a nice stretch? Or does it feel like it's pinching something? Now we'll go ahead and start to walk ourselves up. And then we'll inhale the arms out and up. And the hands will come back to Anjali Mudra, pressing the palms over the heart center. Good. And rubbing the hands together, rolling the wrists. Okay, so I'm going to grab a block. I'm going to take my block between my hands on the widest setting. I'm going to take my nice solid mountain stance here, and I'm going to lift this block. So like I could press this like this were my Anjali Mudra with a block in between. And I'm going to lift that block overhead. Right, nice and strong through the bottom half of my body. And I could kind of push the sides of the block with my hands. Good, and now I'm going to start to bend my knees and shift my weight back into my heels. And I might bring that block in front of me, still squeezing the block lightly. Good. Inhale, lift and straighten everything. The block rises up. Exhale, bend the knees, sink down. The block comes straight out in front, shoulder height. That's good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend into your chair pose. So strong through the glutes. And we'll take one more chair pulse, we'll call it. And hold here, guys. Hold here. Option to lift the arms up and keep the knees bent. Right? Really push the feet away from each other. Engage the glute muscles. Pull the belly in towards the spine. And then we'll inhale and straighten. And then go ahead and give your block a hug. Right? So I've got my block on my chest, lengthwise. Give the block a hug. Kind of rock back and forth. And see if you can bring a little bit of attention to the upper back. It's like a nice stretch for the upper back, breathing into that. Good, and then releasing. I'll take my block, I'll keep my block in my hand for a moment. I'm gonna step my right foot forward and my left foot back. We're going to come into a warrior one stance. And this time I'm going to have my block on a narrower setting in between the hands, just like Anjali Mudra, right? So I've got this block, Anjali Mudra between the hands on my narrow setting, or whatever feels good. If that feels better for you, Mary Jo, that's great. Okay, so right foot forward, left foot back, warrior one foot stance. That's hips to the top of the mat. And just notice for a moment what's happening to your pelvic bowl. Is it tipping forward? Can you bring it back to a little bit more stable position? That back leg is straight and strong. And now let's go ahead and lift the block up and straighten the front knee. Take a breath in. Exhale, sink down into your warrior one and bring the block down in front of the chest. Good. Inhale, lift, straighten. Exhale, block comes down and we bend the knee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. And let's hold here, pushing the feet away from each other. Maybe the block rises up as we stay in our warrior one. Good. Bringing the block to heart center. I'm going to step up to mountain. Maybe I can even stand on one leg for just a millisecond and release down. Nice. Go ahead and shake it out a little bit. Maybe toss the block up in the air and catch it a few times. Your block is your BFF today. All right, let's try the other side. So left foot forward, right foot back at a little bit of an angle. We got those hips pointing to the top of the mat for warrior one. I'm going to hold my block on the narrow setting between my hands, Anjali Mudra. Let's see, so here it was here. I could even go even more narrow if I wanted, the smallest setting. See how that feels. Okay, so inhale the arms up and straighten that front leg. Exhale, sink into your warrior one, hands to heart center. Nice, guys. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Last one, inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. We'll hold here. Find that good strength in the lower body. And then maybe the arms rise up. Pelvic bowl tipping back. Big breath in. And then release the hands to heart center. See if you can step up to one-legged mountain for a millisecond and release. Give that block a hug. Feeling that a little bit of a roundedness in the upper back. And breathing into the back of the body. Good. Let's toss the block to the side. Take a little sip of water and grab your strap. I'm going to take the strap behind me, about shoulder width distance apart. Right, my hands are facing away from the body. And I'm just going to take 3 lifts here to see how this feels. Inhale, lift the arms up away from the back body and release down. So I've got my palms facing away from the body and I'm just lifting up and releasing down. And one more lift. Good, and release. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this right foot forward and the left foot back. And we're going to keep a shorter stance than a warrior one. I've got my strap behind my back. And if that felt okay, or maybe I could even bring the strap my hands a little closer together behind me, right? Or if it felt okay where you were before, that's fine. I'm just going to start to reach forward with my heart, folding over my right leg, hinging at the hips. Right, and trying to kind of keep my shoulders and my hips in line. And if this felt okay, I could gaze down at my right toe. I'm kind of trying to pull the strap apart a little bit. And maybe, that's right, Deb, maybe the arms rise up a little bit away from the back body. Maybe I can fold and allow the arms to lift. So you can see what this looks like from the side. Right, just holding here in our version of a pyramid pose today, a little wider on the strap if you can't straighten the arms. Good. Inhale, make your way up. Good. Step to mountain, release the strap in front. We're going to lift the arms up overhead and just take some nice side bends. Sigh out the mouth if you're feeling out of breath. Now my cold basement doesn't seem so cold anymore. Thanks to you guys for keeping me on my toes always. Good, and then we'll release the strap behind the back and try that on the other side. Okay, staying with me. This is the last little bit of shoulder business, okay? So left foot forward, right foot back, a little bit of a shorter stance. Both legs are straight. I'm gonna try to keep my shoulders and my hips square to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach forward, fold forward. Both legs are straight. Maybe a soft bend if you feel really, agonizing, too much stretch. And then maybe the arms lift up as you gaze down at that left toe. Just noticing how you're feeling in this moment and seeing if you can smooth out the breath, right? We're finding that yoga zone, as one student is calling it, holding a pose and being able to breathe smoothly at the same time. And that is the definition of steady and easy. Come on up nice and slow. Release the strap in front of the body. If you want one more little set of side bends, if your arms are just like falling off you, you can skip it. So much fun with the blocks and straps. And then we'll release. You can just throw the strap down. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down a few times. Yeah, walk it out a little bit if you like. I might lift my right arm straight out, scoop underneath, draw the arm across the body. Give myself a shoulder stretch here, keeping that right shoulder nice and low. And I might tuck one ear away, tuck the left ear towards the left shoulder. Breathe into that so you feel that space opening up. Good, and release and switch sides. Left arm straight out. Scoop underneath, draw the arm across. Keep that left shoulder nice and low and tilt that right ear towards the right shoulder. Deep breath in. You can feel that muscle that connects the neck to the shoulder. Right, the trapezius. One more breath. And release. All right, guys, let's go ahead and find a little bendy bounce to the knees. If you need extra support today, coming to a wall or coming to a chair, I'm going to start to pour the weight into my right foot. And I'm just going to pick up my left leg and hug it in towards the other leg. So I'm standing on one leg with my hands at heart center. Zipping up my core. Big breath in. Breath out. Find that drishti or place to gaze that's not moving. Fix your attention there. Find the breath. If it's really easy, close the eyes. Big breath in and release. Walk it out. And we'll switch sides. Bendy bounce, weight in the left foot. Pick up the right leg, hug it in. Hands to heart center. Grab onto your support. This side could feel different if you need it. Great, maybe close your eyes if you're working towards a more challenging experience. If you fall out of it, that's okay. Come back into it. And release. Nice, guys. Pick up both of your blocks. And if I feel like I could hear a collective groan when I said that. More block work? Oh my gosh, how fun. Yes, both blocks. Okay, so big wide stance. Having so much fun today, you guys. Big wide stance. We're going to try a warrior two with some block stuff. It's going to be so fun. So bring that right toe to the top of the mat and angle the back foot in. The warrior two stance, we have the hips pointed to the side of the mat. We're going to bend into this right knee. Right, so I'm just setting up my foot stance, and I want to make sure this right knee is right over my front ankle. Right, if you're going way far forward of that ankle, that means you can lengthen your stance. You could bring that back foot farther back. Good. And now from here, I'm going to lift my blocks out to the sides, right? And then I'll point them down and I'll lift them up a few times and kind of find what feels interesting to me. Right, when I lift them up, I'm getting quite a lot of forearm and upper arm building. When I point them down, it's more like a typical warrior two stance. And then I'll take a gaze over that right hand, right, and find my hand shape that feels like what I want to do right now. Remind myself of why I'm here, my intention. Take a breath. Good. And now let's go ahead and bring this left block down onto the left leg and lift the right arm up. Right? And you might straighten that right leg and reach the block down a little farther down the back leg. Breathe into that right side body for a reverse warrior with blocks. And then we'll come back up nice and slow. Turn both toes to the side of the mat. I'm going to take a breath in and exhale, walk myself down so these blocks become like extensions of my hands. I could come down onto the blocks at the highest setting, or I could come to the couch, remembering, Deb, we're not dipping the head below the heart, right? So staying lifted. Yes, I'm watching you always, my friends. If you want to come down a little deeper, we're working with, if you have high blood pressure, right, and you're not medicated for that, some of the positions where you're inverted can increase the blood pressure. So we want to stay safe. Good. Traveling back up. Take your blocks with you. You might walk the blocks up the legs. Isn't that fun? And then we'll turn the left toes. We'll try the other side. So coming back to the mat, Deb. Turn the left toes to the top of the mat. The left foot is at the top of the mat. The right foot is angled in. Our hips are pointing to the side of the mat. And we're just going to bend into this left knee. Bend into the left knee. Notice where the knee is. Make sure it's like right over the ankle. Toes and knees pointing in the same direction. And then I'm going to lift my blocks out and kind of work my forearms a little bit, taking care of that pelvic bowl tipping forward too much, seeing if I can correct that. And then turn the gaze over that left hand, stating your intention internally. We'll slowly drop that right arm down onto the right leg. Lift the left arm up, straightening that left leg, reaching the block behind you. Breathing into the left side body, reverse that warrior. Good, and releasing down, coming back to center, all 10 toes to the side of the mat. Let's go ahead and take one more little forward fold, Deb, if you want to come back to the couch. We're going to do some twisting with this, right? So I've got my hands resting on the blocks at the highest height. That might feel different for you. You might not need the highest height. I have short arms. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift one block out and up to the side. So I'm twisting my torso, and then I'm coming back down. Inhaling, twisting to the other side, holding that block up high and setting it back down. And we'll take one more on each side. And then we'll walk ourselves up. Walk yourselves up. If you like, you could take a little hop back to mountain pose. And if you'd like, you could now juggle the blocks. Just kidding. I'm going to roll my wrists, take my sip of water, and we'll begin to transition to some seated postures. Next week, we'll do the full tree pose. Today was just sort of a little taste of balance. Usually we do a lot of balance in this. We'll do a lot more balance in this series. So how do we transition safely to the seated posture? We stagger the feet, right? We drop the back knee down. Just for a moment, we come to balance on the knees, and that's a tricky part. If you need to hold on to something in front of you, that's an option. Good, and then I'm coming to sit. I'm coming to sit, sweeping my legs in front. Sweeping my legs in front and seeing if just for a moment I could sit up nice and tall. And this is a lot of work, right? If you find yourself here and you're unable to stay from rounding the spine, right? You can bring the hands behind you and give yourself a little support. Now I'll be bending my right leg and bringing that right foot inside the left thigh. So taking a little twist over to the left so that when I fold forward, I'm folding forward directly over that left leg. And I'm going to start by lifting my arms up. Big breath in. Exhale, reach forward, folding forward, taking care if you have low back issues not to go too far. And I'll grab onto what's available to me. And that might be the shin. That might be the thigh. That might be the foot. I'm not going to force this pose. Lengthen and deepen with the breath, lengthening and deepening with each breath cycle. One thing I do like to do in this pose, hate to say it, is to use a block to bring the knee up to me. Taking one more breath in Janu Shirshasana. I say the Sanskrit name of this pose because, come on up when you're ready. The English name of the pose is head to knee pose. And I feel like that's just not happening for so many of us that I'd rather say the Sanskrit. Let's bring that right knee to face the sky. A little bit of space between the foot and the thigh, right? So I can measure that distance with my fist. And then I'll sit up really tall. I'm going to lift my left arm up. Take a breath in as I exhale. Use all the muscles in my torso to twist to the right. Twisting to the right, right? And then I'll bring my hand down, hug the knee, and bring that right arm down behind me. I've got to tent my fingertips, right? You could even hold a block in the hand to bring some length there, that right hand. Taking care that I'm not jutting my chin out as I twist to the right. It's just a seated twist. And I've got that left leg really engaged. Yeah, so taking good care of that left leg, looking over that right shoulder, twisting to the right. Come on back to center, a little counter twist on the other side. And then we'll switch sides. We'll come to Janu Shirshasana with the left foot inside the right thigh. It could be up at the thigh. If that doesn't feel right for you, it could be down at the calf. Right? So this is a lot, Ted. You want to take it a little bit less. You could bring the foot down at the calf. Good. I'm going to lift my arms up, a little twist to the right, and reach forward, folding forward, grabbing onto what is available. Could be the foot, could be the thigh, could be, yeah, that's good, Amy, taking care of yourself in this moment. I could use my block under my forehead if I'd like a little bit of an extra support. Lengthening
and deepening with each breath cycle.
Good. Slowly make your way up. We'll bring that left knee to face the sky. Measure out your fist distance between the foot and the thigh, and keeping that right leg super engaged. Sit up tall, lift the right arm up, big breath in. Exhale, twist to the left, hug onto that knee, and bring the left hand behind you like a kickstand. Right, so I'm hugging my right knee in towards my left knee in towards my right rib cage. Peeking over my left shoulder, nice and tall through the crown of my head. Right? Imagine could place my hand on your upper back, and you could lean back into my hand and lengthen the back of your neck. Right? Sit up a little bit taller. That's it. Well, that's what I was looking for. And slow back to center. Little counter twist on the other side. We'll take both feet to touch, the soles of the feet to touch. And maybe this is a very large diamond shape, or maybe you can bring the feet a little closer as we do just a seated bound angle here. The feet touching. I guess there is no foot Anjali Mudra, but there should be. And I'm just going to lean forward a little bit. I might create the shape of an Anjali Mudra with my hands and just place it right on top of my feet, or even in front of my feet, plugging that hand, connecting the hand with the feet. Yeah, that's good, Deb. Got it, Judy. One more breath now. And we're coming up nice and slow and moving to, we'll bring the feet straight out in front. I'm going to bend my right knee and cross the right ankle over the left knee. I'll bring my hands behind me for support, and I'll slowly start to bend this left knee and scoot my butt a little closer if there's more room to travel or stay right where I am. So this is our figure 4 in the seated variety. This is a good just note to self, Larry, when we sometimes do this on the back, this is a nice way to do this pose. And instead of dumping forward and rounding forward, I'm really going to push up off the earth and lift my heart and breathe into this stretch that I'm feeling, right, with this left knee bent, or however you want to do this pose. Good. And releasing, we'll go ahead and switch it up. Crossing that left ankle over the right extended leg. Slowly bending this right knee and scooting the butt forward, right? So this might be a lot, Deb. We were working on this yesterday, right? With me as the wall. So just stay safe here as we push into the hands, lift the heart, find the amount of sensation that feels right for you, and breathe into it. That's good, Leanne. Good. Releasing out of this. I'm just going to plant both feet down with my knees bent and allow the knees to drift from side to side. Windshield wipers. My feet are out at the width of my mat. Good. And then as you're ready, coming to lie on the back. Larry, we're going to be moving into that back bend. So if you want to try your camel pose again. Okay, so coming to lie on the back, we're not going to come there quite yet. So taking a moment to kind of settle into the reclining shape. You could rest your hands on the belly. You could take a few pelvic tilts here, lifting the belly button up off the earth and pushing the belly button down. It's just a small, subtle movement. As we begin to really wind down, so smoothing out your breath. We did a lot of different things today. So we'll take the time to integrate the poses with the Shavasana coming up very soon. First, let's try a bridge pose. So I'm going to grab my block, my one last block movement here, and I'm going to take that block between my thighs. And you can use the block between the thighs for camel pose too, Larry, and one block between the feet. So I'm going to push, I'm going to squeeze that block, and I'm going to push into my feet, lift the heart up off the earth. I've got my arms at my sides, fingertips are reaching towards the ceiling. Nothing under the neck here, and keeping the gaze straight down the nose. Right? I might wriggle the shoulders, get a little higher. And you can practice any version of your bridge pose in terms of the arms that you like. Just taking 2 more breaths and really squeezing everything, lifting everything up nice and high. We're talking about this being really good for reversing the rounded posture we develop as we age. You could stay lifted and lift the arms up behind you and slowly set yourself down one vertebra at a time. Feels so good. Don't forget to breathe. Good. When you're down on the earth, you can release the block. Take the feet out to the width of the mat. Arms out to the sides. Wash the knees back and forth. Right? You could do a few of these. You could linger, or you could move back and forth. That's good. I'm going to take one more posture today, and that's my spinal twist, gentle spinal twist. I'll cross my right knee all the way over the left knee. And I'm going to guide my knees to the left. And I might even slide a block underneath my knees for a little extra support today. Maybe that right arm can drift over to the right with the shoulder melting into the earth. Right? So it's just a gentle spinal twist with support under the knee. I've got both of my shoulders resting on the earth and my knees draped in one direction. Smoothing out the breath. When you're ready, traveling back to center and switching sides, crossing the left knee over the right, draping the knees over to the right side, both shoulders melting into the earth. Allowing the breath to find all of those nooks and crannies that this posture opens up. Moving away from thinking and doing to feeling and being. When you're ready, traveling back to center, just hugging the knees into the chest, and rocking a little bit from side to side. Yeah, ironing out that lower back a little bit. You could circle the knees. And then you might float both feet up towards the sky. Point and flex with both legs straightened. A little soft bend to the knee if need be. pushing that low back into the earth. And then I'm coming down nice and slow. I might even slide a little support under my knees for my final resting pose. I might grab something for underneath my neck. All right, taking a moment to put on that extra layer. Take that sip of water. Really treating ourselves with kindness. Right, getting all those last minute wiggles and squiggles out of the body. One last stretch, perhaps, or maybe even balling up the fists and then releasing the hands a few times. And then just noticing all the parts of the body that are touching the earth. Allowing yourself to sink into the earth. Beginning this process of letting go. Bringing the breath into the foregrounds, breathing in through the nostrils and out through the nose or mouth, taking just a couple clearing, cleansing breaths. In that reclining posture. So I'm just, I really want you to take that reclining posture so that you can integrate the poses we've just done. The Shavasana is very important. Right, so lying on the back. With the eyes gently closed. Bringing your attention and your awareness to the area behind the center of the eyebrows. Gazing there now without strain. This area is your mental mind space. It's like a room in your mind. Gazing here now without strain and noticing any colors or patterns. Just observing like you're watching a movie. And now we'll move the mind around parts of the body. Moving your mind to your hands. Filling your hands with your awareness. Perhaps imagining the hands filled with a warm golden light. And then allowing the hands to rest. Moving up the arms all the way to the shoulders. Filling up the arms with your awareness. Perhaps imagining that light traveling as well. Allowing the arms to completely relax. Moving your mind to your feet. Filling up the feet with your awareness. If your feet are always cold like mine, helpful to envision that warmth. And that warmth and relaxation traveling up the legs all the way to the hips. Allowing both legs to completely relax. Softening the belly. That warm golden light moving up into the heart area, filling up the lungs with each breath. Moving your awareness to your throat, into the face, the lower jaw and the upper jaw, the lips, all of the muscles in the face, smoothing out. The muscles around the eyes and the eyeballs themselves relaxed. And then imagining you could put on that golden mask of mindfulness that allows you to just observe from a distance. Allowing the base of the skull to sink into its support. And filling up now the whole entire body from head to fingertips to toes with your awareness and with that warm golden light. Nourishing, replenishing, and recharging your body and your mind. Journeying back from our guided Shavasana through breathing in through the nose and allowing that breath to fill up the whole body, wiggling fingers and toes. Whenever you're ready, bringing that movement back into the body, ever so slowly and gently rolling onto one side. Rolling onto one side and giving yourself that little extra hug of support today. Holding on to what's good in this moment. And then as you're ready, just joining me in a seated posture. Whatever would feel best for you in this moment. Finding that tall spine. And just allowing the practice to resonate through the body and mind for a moment longer. You could bring hands together at heart center, press the palms together, bringing your intention with you out into the rest of today. We'll close our session with the sound and vibration of one single Om. Inhaling for Om. Thank you so much for your practice. Great job. Namaste. Feel free to stick around to chat, or if you need to go ahead and go. You're invited, of course, to join me for Yoga Nidra on Sunday for free at 4 p.m. I gave you a little tiny taste at the end of our class today of what Yoga Nidra is. And that'll be a whole half an hour of just what we did at the end, traveling through the body and visualizations. It's a really relaxing practice. So I'll be sending out a link on Sunday. You can join that for free.